All right, let's get back to the campaign trail as we gear up for this week's French and English leaders debates. Nik Nanos is joining us now to talk some numbers. He's the founder and chief data scientist at Nanos Research. Nick, how are you?
Good, Roger. How you doing?
I can't complain. Let's get to the numbers. Let's start with the daily tracking, voter intention. Where are we standing right now?
Well, as of the numbers, the polling that was completed last night for CTV News and the Globe and Mail, we have the Liberals at 43%, the Conservatives at 37%. That's a 6-point advantage for the Liberals. You know, the Liberals over the course of this campaign have had anywhere from a 10-point advantage to a 4-point advantage, so opening up a little bit. But, you know, check out the numbers for the New Democrats. Still pretty low at 10%, Bloc at 6%, Green Party at 3%. You know, 8 out of every 10 voters, Roger, are voting for the two frontrunners, and that's much higher than most elections that we've seen in the last 2 decades.
And if we see that gap feels like it's been a little bit fairly consistent for the last few days at 6%. It feels like it's settled in there.
Yeah, well, it's settled in now. Maybe we're in a bit of a pre-debate holding period, kind of like, you know, when you're in the elevator listening to that, I won't say bad music, but
elevator music?
Yeah. Anyways, not to equate the election with elevator music, but I think right now we're in a transition period. Canadians know that the debates are coming Wednesday, Thursday. They're going to be tuning into those debates, and I think we're probably in a bit of a holding pattern until we get to those debates and see especially how the two frontrunners perform in those debates and whether there's any changes.
All right, speaking of the two frontrunners, let's talk about preferred prime minister. What are those numbers like?
Yeah, Mark Carney still has the advantage on the preferred prime minister front at around 48% or thereabouts, followed by Mark Carney at 34%. You know, the thing is for most of this campaign, Mark Carney has been in the driver's seat on that front. Speaks to why the Liberals are popular. It's not because people like the Liberals. It's not because they're happy with what's happened in the last 10 years. It's because of Mark Carney. That's why the French and the English debates are going to be, Roger, pressure cookers for Carney, because if he does not get through the debates, why don't we just say, I don't know, without making a big blunder, it'll be tough. It'll be tough for the Liberals if there's a problem for Mark Carney in the debates.
All right, I want to ask about with Carney. He's been putting on the prime minister's hat quite often. What kind of an impact does that have?
Yeah, I think the guy wants to put on the prime minister's hat every chance that he gets, because what it looks like, at least, is that whenever he's speaking as prime minister, not only his prime minister numbers, preferred prime minister numbers are good, but it's good for Liberal Party fortunes. And then when he's toe-to-toe with Pierre Poilievre on issues like taxes, the cost of living, then why don't we just say he's a little shorter politically? I don't know if we can say that. But anyways, much more of an even playing field. So whether Donald Trump says anything or not about Canada, maybe part of the Liberal strategy will be to have these emergency meetings about Canada-U.S. relations in order to put a spotlight on Mark Carney and the binational relationship, because the Liberals think that that helps them.
All right, Nick, it's going to be an interesting week. Thank you as always, sir.
Take it easy, Roger.
Nik Nanos is the founder and chief data scientist at Nanos Research.